Well, good morning. Good morning. Welcome to Spirit of God Fellowship online. Yes, we are still online. We will be online for a little while longer. Welcome to all that are watching and listening. And let me just say, Happy Mother's Day, everybody. Happy Mother's Day to all that are watching. Let me get a few announcements out of the way before we get into our service. Next Sunday, which is the 17th of May, I will be doing part 2 of my series on Daniel, Dare to be a Daniel. Part 2, we're going to talk about the different worldviews that were going on with Nebuchadnezzar and his spiritual advisors. And of course, Daniel had a worldview that I think we'll find interesting and helpful to what we're going through right now in the land of the coronavirus. So that's next week. Now, May 24, I was going to finish the series, but you know what? I asked Ray Banks to come back and do a message on the 24th. He did such a great job a couple weeks ago. Of course, Ray's a longtime member of our church, an elder in our church, and so I've asked him to come back on May 24. May 31, John Russell will be giving the message. John has been doing a great job on our midweek prayer meetings. I hope you've been tuning in to see the meditations that he gives and some of the other things that John has been doing. And then on June 7, I'll come back and I will finish the series on Daniel, Dare to be a Daniel. We're also planning a very exciting Father's Day service. More to come on that in a week or two. But we have a wonderful service planned this morning, and it's all about moms. It's about honoring moms. Let me read this poll. It's an interesting poll that was done. Moms were asked to answer some questions about motherhood. 86% of moms said this about motherhood. They said they didn't feel like they got enough respect for what they did. 86% of moms said that. Now, the same moms, 70% of these same mothers said this. They said being a mom was more work than they ever thought they were going to have to do. Now, 92% of these same moms said this. They said being a mom was much more rewarding than they ever thought it would be. Wow, that is so cool. And Mother's Day is about honoring our moms. No one works harder in life than mothers. But let's face it, let's be honest. Mother's Day is hard for some people, hard for many people. It is. Maybe your mom passed away. Maybe your mom passed away recently. Maybe it's been many years. My mom passed away 9 years ago. There isn't a day that doesn't go by that I don't think about her. And so maybe it's a difficult day for some, this Mother's Day. Maybe you're a mom and you've lost a child. And today, Mother's Day, is a painful day for you. I don't know. Maybe your mom meant well. Maybe your mom tried really hard, but maybe you grew up and it wasn't a good experience. Your mother, although she did the best she could, she wasn't a great mom, and you're thinking about that today. Maybe some listening this morning didn't even know your mom. You were raised in a foster home. You were raised in a different situation, and today is a painful day for you. But listen, whatever the situation, I think we can all agree today is a day that we honor mothers. We honor motherhood. And there's one thing for sure, motherhood is not always perfect. It's not fun sometimes. It's not easy. But motherhood is something we all thank God for. We all thank God for moms. And we honor all moms today, and we want to honor all moms tuned in today, all families tuned in. We want to honor all of you with our service today. It's dedicated to you. And so now I want to just turn it over to Dan and Ashley Whiteman as they lead us in a time of praise and worship.
God I serve knows only how to triumph. My God will never fail. No, my God will never fail. But I'm gonna see a victory. I'm gonna see a victory. For the battle belongs to you, Lord. I'm gonna see a victory. I'm gonna see a victory. For the battle belongs to you, Lord. Oh, there's power in the mighty name of Jesus. Every war he wages, he will win. I'm not backing down from any giant, 'cause I know how this story ends. Oh, we do, I know how this story ends. 'Cause I'm gonna see a victory. I'm gonna see a victory. For the battle belongs to you, Lord. 'Cause I'm gonna see a victory. I'm gonna see a victory. For the battle belongs to you, Lord. Oh, yes, it does, yes, it does. Who can comprehend your ways, Lord? It's what you do. You take what the enemy meant for evil, and you turn it for good. Turn it for good. You take what the enemy meant for evil, and you turn it for good. Yes, you turn it for good. Oh, you take what the enemy meant for evil, and you turn it for good. Turn it for good. Only you, Lord. You take what the enemy meant for evil, and you turn it for good. Yes, you turn it for good. I'm gonna see a victory. I'm gonna see a victory. For the battle belongs to you, Lord. I'm gonna see a victory. Yes, I'm gonna see a victory. For the battle belongs to you. I'm gonna see it. Yes, I'm gonna see a victory. Yes, I'm gonna see a victory. For the battle belongs to you, Lord. 'Cause I'm gonna see a victory. Oh, I'm gonna see a victory. For the battle belongs to you, Lord. To you. All you. You take what the enemy meant for evil, you turn it for good. You turn it for good, like only you could do. You take what the enemy turn it for good. You turn it for good. You take what the enemy meant for evil. You turn it for good. You turn it for good. Whom I at the highest would welcome. I was lost, but he brought me. For his love for me. For his love for me. Who the Son sets free. Oh, it's free indeed. I'm a child of God. Yes, I am. Free last, he is ransomed me. His grace unseen. While I was a slave to sin, Jesus died for me. Yes, he died for me. Who the Son sets free. Oh, it's free indeed. I'm a child of God. Yes, I am. In my Father's house, there's a place for me. I'm a child of God. Yes, I am. I am chosen, not forsaken. I am who you say I am. You are for me, not against me. I am who you say I am. I am chosen, not forsaken. I am who you say I am. You are for me, not against me. I am who you say I am. Oh, I am who you say I am. Who the Son sets free. Oh, it's free indeed. I'm a child of God. Yes, I am. In my Father's house, there's a place for me. I'm a child of God. Yes, I am. I am chosen, not forsaken. I am who you say I am. You are for me, not against me. I am who you say I am. I am chosen, not forsaken. I am who you say I am. You are for me, not against me. I am who you say I am. Oh, I am who you say I am. Who the Son sets free. Oh, it's free indeed. I am a child of God. Yes, I am. In my Father's house, there's a place for me. I'm a child of God. Yes, I am.
Hi, my name is Paula Lopez. I am married to Jose Luis Lopez. We've been married for, well, June 1st, it will be 57 years that we have been married. We have 6 children, to which 4 are girls, 2 are boys. Being a mom back in the 60s, it was very different than being a mom now. We had our appliances were a lot of manual appliances. Our children, it was very different back then. They could come home from school for lunch. I was a stay-home mom. There were times when it was hard because you're growing up with your children, you're learning as you're growing up with them. You learn from them, and when they get older, you learn from them as they're learning from you. I try to bring all my mom's tradition, her being born in Mexico. I brought all these traditions in my home. Before I knew God, I was a very strict mom, very strict. When I came to know God, when I came to Spirit of God, a lot of my ways changed, and they became more godly ways, more time to talk with them. It wasn't all about just housework. That was my priority, to teaching them housework, teaching them how to cook, teaching them all the things of what a mom is supposed to do. I was strict, but like I said, when I came to know the Lord, my ways changed, and I started doing it in more of a loving way. My children, thank God, they were not children that I had to go to school because they misbehaved, things like that. Maybe 1 or 2. And not in a bad way. I mean, my son Rick, they would call me, the police call me, come to the house and say, your son is climbing the roofs again. He's jumping roofs. And we lived in the city. And I would have to go and call him down to get down from there. My daughter, Laura, when she was in high school, she had to be the homecoming queen, the prom queen, this queen, that queen, and it was very important to her. So you have all these different, all your children are different, and you bring them up different. You bring them up different. Those years are years that filled my life. When I think about them, I have good memories. As they grew older, I think the most important thing for me was to be part of their life, always. Always I wanted to be part of their life. I wanted to know who their friends were, where they were going, the traditions, the Mexican traditions. I remember my mom always used to have a pot of food going on. Well, I came from a family of 14. My mom would always have a pot of food going in case any one of her children would come in and she wouldn't be home. There would be food, even if they were married. I kind of do that now. It's only my husband and I, but I kind of still cook in big pots because I think, well, maybe Rick or maybe one of the girls will come over, and if they're hungry, there's something to eat there. It's just in me that I have to know that my children have eaten that day. It's very important to me. I have 18 grandchildren. I have 2 great-grandchildren, one in whom was just born, and it just broke my heart because I couldn't carry that grandchild for the first time. My life is so filled with my family, and right now I wouldn't change anything. Not that marriage is all a bowl of cherries. No, it isn't. The first 25 years were hard, But then we didn't have the Lord in our marriage then. But from then on, it has been a good life. I will be turning 77, and tomorrow I will be turning 77, and at this stage of my life, I wouldn't change anything. I love everything about my life. I love my church. I love my family. I love my neighborhood. I just wouldn't change anything. Thank you. And I'd like to introduce to you my legacy, Michelle Courtney.
Hello. I am child number 4, second daughter. I'm not Laura. I didn't need the crown, but 1 out of 3 isn't bad, so that's okay. I have 3 children. I have 2 sons and 1 daughter. And I would have to say what I've learned from my mom, now that I am been a mother. When I think of my mom, I think of 3 words, well, 3 things. One is her relentless faith. The other is her unconditional love for her children, her family, and her church. And I would say the last one is just that she is one of the funniest people that I know. Doesn't matter what time of day, she's funny. But I would have to say raising kids and knowing what I've learned from my mother, it's always been faith first. And if you have hard times, if you have good times, God is always first. And I've learned that from her. She's been through a lot in her lifetime, but I know that at the drop of a hat, she's always been there for us, and she will always be there for us. And I just admire the person that she is, not only as a mother, but as a church leader. I know that when I'm hurting or something is going on with me, I tend to hide it, but my mom knows I can't hide anything from her. And her wisdom and her grace as a woman, I pray that I get that. I pray that I am like her. I pray that I can love my family like she loves hers. And when you hear of the phrase, a woman worth following, that is definitely my mother. And I love her. So I try to instill all of that in my daughter, Laura Lynn. She's my only girl. And I'm glad that I had her at this point in my life. And my mom had the faith enough for me to believe that I would have Laura Lynn. And so she is 15, right? So I hope that I instill some of these things that my mom has showed me and her. So, Laura Lynn?
Hi, I'm Laura Lynn. So I guess I could start by saying our family is very family oriented, if you want to say that. So not only is like my mom like my best friend, she's gotten me through a lot of things, but my grandma is also one of my best friends. I can remember, I still am, but remember being very close with her when I was younger, just getting into trouble with my grandma and my mom having to yell at the 2 of us. I'm very thankful to have both of them through growing up and being at this stage in my life, and I'm going to have them around for a lot longer. It's been really nice being able to, I guess, see the way my grandma has brought up my mom through myself. I feel like a lot of characteristics have gone down the path. I don't know how to word that. But my mom is also very funny. She's her own comedian, and so is my grandma. They both will make a joke, and they just, doesn't matter who they're telling it to. If they laugh, it's funny to them. So faith has been a big thing. I like to thank my grandma for starting that, because I definitely think things would have been a lot different.
I would like to say something. I would like, excuse me, to wish the Hispanic mothers in Espíritu de Dios, Comunidad Cristiana. Les doy gracias porque yo sé que todos los años celebramos el Día de las Madres y siempre me han dado un gran respeto. Y les quiero decir que las quiero mucho, las extraño y que mañana disfruten con su familia. Y gracias por todas sus atenciones todos los otros años.
Good morning, Spirit of God Fellowship, and happy Mother's Day. I'd like to share a verse that I found for all the moms raising children, grandmas, great-grandmas, aunties, stepmoms, and whoever else. This is a beautiful verse that I found in Isaiah 40, verse 11. He tends his flock like a shepherd. He gathers the lambs in his arms and carries them close to his heart. He gently leads those who have young. I love that scripture verse. The second thing I'd like to share about is advice I got from Barb Sullivan. I have known Barb since 1973, and she's given me years of advice and counsel. And one day I came to her and I was very angry, very anxious, and she said, Patrice, I think you need to get in your car, roll up the window, and scream as loud as you can. And I just want you to know, I have done this for years.
Hey Aiden,
What?
what's something silly that mommy does that makes you laugh?
Tickle me?
Yeah?
And she would also make funny jokes and made me laugh after she attacks me with kisses and hugs. Chase me around.
Very good. Say love you. Oh,
She tells jokes.
right on. You love your mom?
Yes.
Say happy Mother's Day, Mom.
Happy Mother's Day, Mom.
What is something silly or funny about mom that makes you laugh?
She wiggles and she does like funny stuff like
Mom just made me laugh because she was funny and crazy.
Inappropriate humor, like burps and farts and all that. And she yells a lot. And she specializes in burping a lot.
My mom's laugh is funny to me. Like it's kind of like a mixture between a laugh and a shout. I hear that laugh and it always makes me curious. I'm like, I want to laugh too. I want to find out what's funny also.
When we play games and do other things, some moments happen which make me laugh.
What's so funny about my mom that makes me laugh is that she has the loudest laugh in our family, and if she hears her favorite song, she just breaks out dancing.
My mom and I enjoy late night talks together over an adult beverage or two. My dad said to us one time, "Are you girls still up solving the problems of the world together?" And I said, yes we are, Dad, doing what we do best.
Getting an open-ended question like why is your mom so special to you is really hard to answer.
Because she loves me.
because she is amazing and she gets us food, and that's why, and I love her so much, and that's why.
She plays with us, gives us many things, and she works very hard.
Hey Alice,
What?
what makes your mom so special?
She cooks me stuff and takes me places. She takes care of me, and then she sees me when I'm sick.
The thing that makes me think of her as a special mom is she provides me with things that I need and that I want. And she helps me with my homework and other things I need help with too.
Mom, you are special. You are caring and understanding.
She's always been there for us. She's easily one of the kindest people I know, and she always seems to leave a positive impression in anything that she's involved with. Of course, in the unlikely chance I ever forget that, I have an office full of people that will be happy to remind me how great she is.
When I have to play music at different venues that I end up coming home late from, she always says, "Call me."
She'll pick up, she'll answer, even if she's in the middle of a long day at school, you know, with tests to grade at night.
My mom's so special to me because she puts our needs before hers.
She's constantly putting her kids before her, even during this social isolation time period. She's more than just my mom. She's one of my best friends.
She's my best friend, my encourager. She's the real Wonder Woman. But with an invisible cape, her lifelong commitment and dedication to Jesus, this church and my family does not go insane. And that is very special to me.
You think Mom's the best mom in the world?
Yeah.
Right on. Say love you.
Love you.
Love you, Mom.
Good morning. My name is Tim Novotny, and I'm here with my daughter, Julia Gutierrez, and we had a couple questions, things we'd like to talk about and share about my wife and Julia's mother. So Julia, the first question I'd like to ask you is, please share a few memories you have about Mom.
Okay, well, one of the biggest memories I have with my mom, something that we really bonded over was volleyball. And volleyball, I mean travel volleyball. So that was when I was in 7th grade until junior year of high school. We drove together, we flew together. She was my #1 fan. She made me feel so comfortable when she was there. I would always look back to see if she was there watching me. And I'll never forget when I would be playing volleyball and I would make, a bad play or make a mistake. I would look back to see my mom, and she would just either have a smile on her face or it didn't even faze her. And another thing is the same thing. If we would lose a game, I'd come off the court, if I was sad or upset, and she would never be hard on me. She'd just be like, "Oh, it's okay, you guys will get them next time." She was never the one to be like, "Oh, what did you do wrong?" or stuff like that. So she always made me feel comfortable, always at ease. I always had to have her there, and I loved being with her. That was a great bonding thing that we shared for a lot of years together.
Would you have to agree that Mom was probably one of the loudest cheers in the stands?
Yeah, she was the loudest. And not even me. Everyone loved to have her there. They always were looking for Diane. They always wanted to talk to her. She was just such a outgoing person, so everyone loved her.
What things have you learned from Mom?
The biggest thing I have learned from very, very early on is she was always praying. She was always in prayer. She always encouraged us in our faith. And even in these recent years, she's had some rough times, and I've seen that her faith has been tested, which I know all our faith is tested, but she never gave up. She was always praying, and she was always forgiving. And another thing, too, that I learned from her is just, or both my parents, but especially her, is just to always honor your mother and father, I think is a great example, and that you should really teach your kids from very early on.
And then being a mother of 2 young boys, what advice would you give to those listening?
This is another thing that I kind of learned from my mom as well, and my dad, but mostly my mom, is just to constantly pray over your kids. I remember when I was little, they would always pray over us before we'd go to bed. And then I know, she would go to Bible study. She'd be with Patrice, my Aunt Sue, and Ginger, and everyone. I know they would always pray over us. And even to this day, I know, even though we're out of the house and we're grown, I'm married, her and my dad are still, continuing to pray over us. So just, I have Vince and Ryan. Vince is about to be 3, so I'm just really encouraged just to pray over them, pray for protection over them, the blood of Jesus over them. And I think they set a really great example for us just how to, teach her kids, and even just at a very young age, just to teach them how to pray and just who God is and things like that.
Very good.
So I just want to say, Mom, I love you so much, and happy Mother's Day, and I can't wait to see you today. Mwah.
Happy Mother's Day, Diane. We love you.
Love you.
I'm Mark McPherson, and I am here with my daughter Courtney. I asked her just a couple of questions about her mom, and I suppose my first question to you would be, what is the best gift that Mom has ever given you?
Like a material gift?
Sure.
I couldn't find it this morning, but she gave me a cross necklace for my birthday. I think it was my 18th birthday, and I wear that like every day. But I currently can't find it, so I have it. I just don't know where it is right now. But that's my favorite thing.
All right. So, what is the most useful thing that Mom's ever taught you?
I think the most useful thing Mom's taught me is to pay attention to the little things, like when we have parties, making a palm tree out of pineapples, or setting the table just right, just paying attention to details to make it nice for everybody else.
So what do you think the best trait is that you've inherited from Mom? Aside from the good looks.
Yeah, didn't get that one from you, no, I'm just kidding. I think, can I tell part of your 4th of July story? So my dad got into a little scuffle on the 4th of July, and my mom was the first person, even though she's a girl and there's a bunch of guys out there trying to fight my dad, my mom was the first person to jump in. So I think her loyalty, if you're one of her people, she's down to do whatever for you, and I think that I have that trait as well. So I think that's the best trait I've gotten from her.
And that's a good trait to have. What's one main life lesson that you've learned from Mom?
If it's gonna happen, it will happen. You don't have to force it. You can't force people to change or do what you want them to do. If it's God's will, it will be.
That brings peace.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so now I got a good one, and I'm probably gonna get in trouble for this, but what's the one thing that Mom does that you won't ever do?
Well, from hearing this discussion between you two, one thing I will never do is flush food down the toilet, like chicken breasts and meatballs and things like that. I will not do that. And if I do, I will call you.
The whole point is to not call me.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I will probably not do that. That was not a happy conversation.
All right. So I guess my thought is, do you have any of your own thoughts or anything you'd like to express or say to Mom or?
Thank you. Thank you for always forcing Hannah and I to be friends when we did not like each other. Thank you for always getting me Starbucks tea and for teaching me how to cook, and just for being a great mom. Any other questions?
You know what? That actually could lead into another question. What is the best thing that Mom's ever taught you to cook?
Well, I don't think Mom cooks anything bad, so probably everything she's taught me to cook, except chicken stretcher genie. That is not a win for us.
I'll disagree.
But everything Mom cooks is good. So
yes, I agree.
I think, yeah. And I've never had a complaint about my cooking, so I'm pretty sure she taught me how to cook pretty good.
No, I enjoy your cooking also.
Well, I think that concludes our interview. Thank you for participating.
I'm glad I could be a part of this.
Happy Mother's Day, Mom.
Happy Mother's Day.
Hello, my name is Matthew James, and this is my daughter Rachel, and we've been together for 32 years, hanging out in one form or another, and so it's been good. One of the first questions I had for Rachel was, what kind of lessons have you learned from your mom?
I think one of the main lessons that I learned from Mom would be that it is possible to work a full-time job, still come home, still cook dinner, still be present mentally, physically, emotionally for your kids. I think that's probably the biggest lesson. And also, I would say, just that it's okay to have a breakdown. Like, I remember when Mason was little, living at home with you guys and almost being embarrassed to like ask for help because I thought like, oh, I have to be this perfect mom, like I have to do everything correct. But then there would be times where Mason would be crying and I would be crying, and where my mom is like, it's okay. Like, just walk out of the room, take a break. I'll like take care of him for a second and you could get it together and come back when you're ready. So those things.
Good, good. Well, I remember some of those longer nights. One of our favorite musical artists during that time was
Kirk Franklin.
Kirk Franklin. We played Kirk Franklin over and over and over again, and it worked.
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Mason was crazy when he was little.
Well, thinking about, so those are some of the lessons that you learned. What about a personal message from you to your mom? What would you like to say to her?
Definitely thank you. Thank you, Mom. I pride myself in being a good mother, and I think the only reason why I am that is because I had a great mother. So I think Mason and Canyon are both blessed, and the only reason why they are is because my mom was so good to us. So thank you. And happy Mother's Day.
Well, you mentioned your two boys, Mason and Canyon. So what is it about raising boys that's unique?
One good thing about raising two boys, probably that they're always wanting to take care of me too. I feel like they probably have carried me some days as much as I've carried them. So just like what is inside a man, maybe just to take care of someone else, I think that they have that in them now, and it'll probably get more and more. Canyon thinks he's my boyfriend at times. So just the little things that they do, just asking me, am I okay? How was my day? Being overprotective, I think that's the best thing, knowing that they're protecting me as much as I am them.
That's neat. That's really good. So what about their future? What would you like your sons to become? What kind of men are you looking forward to them becoming?
I know it's Mother's Day, but definitely like you, Dad. I don't know. Just confident, honest, men of their word, themselves. I really just want them to be comfortable being themselves, loving what they do, loving their families, being respectful to everyone they come across, just being really good men. I hope that I'm able to show them that.
Well, that's sort of the end of my questions, but I think you have shown them that. You've done a really good job, Rachel. I think you're a great mom.
Thank you.
I've seen you up close and personal with both of the boys, and you've gone through good times and bad times with them, and it's just, you've been consistent. So happy Mother's Day to you, too.
Thank you. Thank you.
That makes sense. She taught me how to smile. Well, I hope that you, like I, enjoyed our Mother's Day service. And so let me leave you with this as we close. To those who gave birth this year to their first child, we celebrate with you. To those who lost a child this year, we mourn with you. To those who are in the trenches with little ones every day and wear the badge of food stains, we appreciate you. To those who experienced loss this year through miscarriage, failed adoptions, or maybe children that ran away, we mourn with you. To those who walk the hard path of infertility, fraught with pokes and prods and tears and disappointment, we walk with you. And forgive us when we say foolish things to you. We don't mean to make this harder than it is. To those who are foster moms or mentor moms and spiritual moms, we need you. To those who have warm and close relationships with your children, we celebrate with you. But to those who have disappointment, heartache, distance from your children, we sit with you. To those who have lost mothers this year or at any time, we grieve with you. To those who experienced abuse at the hands of your own mother, we acknowledge your experience. To those who lived through driving tests and medical tests and the overall testing of motherhood, and may I add, to those who are doing online teaching of your children, we are better for having you in our midst. To those who will have emptier nests in the upcoming year, we grieve and we rejoice with you. And to those who are pregnant with new life, both expected and surprising, we anticipate with you. This Mother's Day, to all of you, no matter what, we walk with you. Happy Mother's Day. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. God bless you all. Have a good week, and we hope you tune in this Wednesday to our midweek prayer meeting service. Have a great day.